Good evening. It is my pleasure tonight to introduce two people who have been involved in both the poetry and the music scene for quite a long period of time. And they've incorporated both within each other. And may I introduce Gloria and Steve Tropp. Thank you.
What's an overwhelmed young girl like you doing in my me? The world breaks open like a flower. The world speaks to its ants. The ants speak to their silk. Glass dominates containments. A fragile young thong lands a job. The office is on the 47th floor. The job is a secret. Secret secretary secretly. Clouds unfold. Daylight known to us all brings giraffe escalators. Gray push and pull split now the doll of ourselves on pillowcases. Ida banaleke yo imasine leina suku kula isine gongale kai as a savior gong 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 You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. So please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, when I was sleeping, I dreamt I held you in my arms. When oh dear, I was mistaken. hung my head and I cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. So please don't take my sunshine away. I don't know say song argue all night. And don't make me side some that bit of feel seen no don't come by you. Dancing and high, dancing in the sunlight. What it does is how baby won't go but so bad boys it go be my so go ya didn't go don't by me been a kiss so nice been on an eye so go been on an eye go used to suit my go better don't know how to see better bye bye been may now see been I been on a no been when I woke dear I was mistaken, so please don't take my sunshine away. Please don't take my sunshine. Who's
the mascara poems. 1. Red nerve twitching in my head. The egg absorbs secrets, eats no more than I write. I feel your delicate pulse clotted with eyelash. Your poised brown face sleeps inside the moon. Different readings of this, or upturned right hand. 2. Soon must I leave you untouched by today's music lesson, cracking a lone footstep like an ingredient. 3. Kiss the seed grain shut. I leave the comb where you brown bird note. 4. African girl at the fair, vibraphone, gore for slightly lost and Coltrane. You are new, not cursed by a non-porous voyage, but leap into mirrors, round as the taste of shared bread. There is no speech of death where your mouth emerges, no moonlit stone police. You apply leaves before celebration, truth or sister. You applique your looking branch onto slim children, lip gloss, upper and lower melody, kissing you and touching is so secret. Nobody knows our windows open and light the flowers, or so much secret. I can't even tell how incense issues from caves, how my fingers numb on the great wave of hokusai sifted through wooden beams, or much too secret, how I move you from one place to the other, iridescent chemical with body-lit hair. 5. There's a music out tonight. Blue shadows over the eyes, sprig of white day-glow flower near cheekbone. Michio, Kushi, lectures, open and closed. Cambridge, Nay, Japan. Sparrow, lectures, Pearl, Mate. 6. Star eyes, that to me is Charlie Yardbird Parker and his pocket alto madness, appearing, disappearing in the pupil of your right eye. But I couldn't come because school lasted for only a second. 7. Your vagina was dreaming infinity, pulling me hard. Kept on for weeks, the paper-thin experience. More nearly tears, more torn red blanket. Saith the eye pulse, black eye flower. 8. I was weeping into your pubic hair. You had a transparent glaze on your lips. It means we can walk on any surface. I'd like next to read a poem that I wrote about my father, who was a very famous psychiatrist and was a very driven man. And the name of this poem is The Curse of the Cat People. My father lifted up his gray fur to be stroked. We were driving down the Long Island Expressway at midnight. You know, he purred. I've always had a touch of the divine about me. What does a father do? And what does a God do? Zero and Xerox are what a God and a father do. Battered child syndrome are what a God and a father do. List 3 things a God and a father both do. 1, lick a drop of sperm from their knee. 2, bake fresh churches in their ovens. 3, lose themselves in the petals of a rose. What does a God do? Sedates his central nervous system. Parenthesis, sigh, close parenthesis. What does a father do? Wears the cardinal's red robes and jounces her bare breasts. Parenthesis, chuckle, close parenthesis. How did I get here? And what am I going to do to get out of this mess? Do I jump out of the side door of a speeding car and take a chance on breaking my head? Or do I just offer myself on the altar as a human sacrifice? My father and I were driving down the Long Island Expressway. The inside of his car was a high-ceilinged Egyptian tomb, elegantly frescoed with sleek caps. The room reeked from musk and red ginseng. The car radio was tuned to Dark of the Moon. Exercise. Describe your father. My father has a high-sloping forehead, a tiny receding chin, little beady eyes, coarse mouth, misshapen ears. His body is slightly stooped on short, squat legs. He dresses on a stinking bearskin rug and rests a knotted club on his shoulder. He turned to me and said, "Son, there's only two things worth having in this world, women and money. And a man's measure is taken by the way in which he handles both. Look at me. I got plenty of women." And the front of the car was filled with Emily, Elizabeth, Mary Jane, Clarissa, Augusta, Sylvia, Ruth, and Eunice. Look at me. I've got plenty of money. And the back of the car was filled with hundreds of smooth, round boulders. We were sitting in his car, which had been stalled for many years. Long Island was sinking into the sea, and it was at this point, when we had nothing to say to each other, that the moon jumped down from the sky, flattened itself on the white line in the center of the highway, and shrinking into a little Pillsbury flower man, whimpered, "Please, oh, please, run me over." By way of celebrating the unique musical vision of my lady and my collaborator, I got this poem together. It's called Visions of Gloria. Have some water.
Some water.
Visions of Gloria. She was singing the speed of what her eyes could see. She was singing sweet eye contact stomps while drinking peripheral vision maltons. She was singing purple jacaranda and amazing 30-foot long canoe shadows at twilight. She was singing ivory horns and drums and woven harps and a giant waxy flower rising out of the first lake. At times like this, she was a living pyramid. Everyone who moved into her aura became sharper, brighter, lived longer. Plants were happier growing. And so it was that I found myself one day walking between a white spiral by Marcel Duchamp and Tutankhamun's golden funerary mask. And these two objects had found enough of their voices to assure me that everything would be all right. She was singing sun-frosted shadows and the sexual outlines of her body's fruit. Because she was singing, I survived the hazardous all-night journey through her pores and entered the room of her spirit. The walls were papered with brown velvet, and I rested on a couch of shredded silver cloth to await the arrival of her animals. Storm clouds rumbled on the ceiling, mixed with swirls of coconut incense rising from a glazed bowl, and the multicolored silk parachutes continuously descended. After seconds, shaped hours, a white-tailed rabbit, a young doe, an ancient wounded box brownie camera strut dancing on luminous ink-red stick legs, a whooping crane, an armadillo, a yellow canary, a triceratops charging in the mist. Finally, a garden of wild iris where visitors from space are about to land. Actually, she didn't change the world. The world burned like a red and blue five-pointed star in a child's picture book. The world had a bitter pink aftertaste in its mouth. The world had a fishtail and a smoke tail. The world cut out and wailed behind its paper doll curtain. The world worked hard for a non-living. The world spoke obsolete language of spermatozoa. The world moved with the alacrity of a double-exposed giraffe. The world flashed spasmic and ice blue. The world belched like the Alphaville computer. The world roared over a village of mud cones. The world burst like laughter in the center of a glowing room. The world awoke ecstatic and disoriented in a Riverdale flower garden. The world made a fool of itself at the golden window. The world bird-voweled of Emperor Heliogabalus. The world lived a short, dangerous, and unhappy life. The world fell down the hill like Jack and Jill and never got to taste the water. The world unearthed Edison cylinders of ghoul music for under Hangman's Hill. The world be a sight queer. The world boiled up a storm until the circle was flat. The world felt good for 1 or 2 days. The world in a vibrating dream chamber. The world was a connoisseur of its own desire. The world glittered us to an unreal paradise and nursed us on lost credibility milk. The world manifested musical genius by a tendency to snore in permutations. The world slanted burst falcon eggs of an inclement weather somewhat in our direction. The world croaked, "Ark, ark!" The world shouted, "How many dummies in this room?" The world of extinct seabirds. The world told us stories that were funny in a senile kind of way. Once upon a time, clip-clop, 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 we receded into the distance. The world contained material of an explicit nature and was not suitable for general family viewing. The world wandered under silver trees. The world got tangled up in the bamboo wind chimes and forgot to come out and play with the rest of us. The world tried to do the right thing. The world was so glad that she died clean without a man in the bed. The world frangipani on a danced-out sidewalk. The world would rather see that poor child put away. The world that leads us not into Villa Lobos, but delivers us from the machine gun spores of a mile-long, dun-colored honeycomb. The world remembered only the pain of learning to walk upright and the coarse, mask-like textures of her magnified eyelids. The world of synchronous fireflies. New comic book heroes lapsed over the verge of invention. Monster comic book heroes, Sparrow Pearl comic book heroes, 20-day fast comic book heroes, Warbling Satan comic book heroes, Astral comic book heroes, Lost and Found macrame comic book heroes, Mr. Zipalone songbook comic book heroes, Sparkling Sand Grain comic book heroes, Chinese lock puzzle comic book heroes, Silken Drum comic book heroes, Nail-studded dance floor comic book heroes, Chakra comic book heroes, Evil Bird People of New York City comic book heroes, Red-beaked Furballed comic book heroes, Brushfire comic book heroes, Prism Breakout comic book heroes, Blue-bellied Sustenance comic book heroes, Dear Masked Elders comic book heroes, Sumi Brush comic book heroes, First Strange Opening of the Eyes comic book heroes, Unnatural Warmth comic book heroes, Hashish comic book heroes with sticky mylar thumbs and scrambled circuits. We were edging our way down the perilous ice slope. Yours is a symbiotic relationship, screamed the great gray she-ape in pursuit. Surely all is lost. But Pagoda Flash, time travels through to us, and we are saved. She extracts her present from the inside of a sun plant and hands it to me in the miraculous green vase. We're going to close with...
What would you?
What are we going to close with?
We'll close with
A kiss?
an action. All right. We'll close with... With? What are we going to close with?
What are we going to close with?
What are you going to close with? What can you close anything with?
I distinctly told you I did not
You're gonna
want
close
the
with
windows
what?
repaired.
What are you going to close? Don't close the windows. It's summer.
The ocean.
The
remember.
windows have to be
Remember.
open. The windows have
Oceans
to
like
be open.
windows too.
You're gonna close.
You don't
What
think
are
that
you
the
gonna
ocean
close?
likes
Don't
a
close your
window?
coat. What are you going to close with? You're
I'm
gonna
not
close
going
with
to
Bob
close.
Holman? Close with Bob Holman.
Now I'm going to close with Mike
Open
Sapol.
with Mike Sapol. What are you going to close with?
Close with Bob.
What are you gonna
Holman.
do?
Open with Mike Sapol.
What are you going to close with? What are you going to close
Jim
with?
Brody.
What are you going to close with? What are you going to close with? DD? What are you going to close with? DD?
Margot De Silva.
What are you going to close with? Margot? What are you close with?
I
What are you going to
distinctly
close with? Margot?
told you
I
I was walking down the street.
What are you going to close with? What are you going to close with? What are you going to close? What are you going to close with? What are you going to close with? What are you going to close?
You're taking all the toys away. What the
When
hell
you're
do you
so
want?
out. When you're so out, what are you going to close with? When you're so out, what are you going to close with? When you're so out, what are you going to close with? Close. What are you going to have? What are you going to close with when you sing? What are you going to close with when you
You don't feel like singing?
Singing.
I see that.
Singing.
Strange look in your eyes.
Sing. What are you going to close with? What are you going to close with? What are you going to close with? What are you going to close with?
As things
Light
are.
bulbs, glasses,
Does your tape
microphones,
recorder eat meat? Yes.
Yes.
Does your hi-fi
Does your
regurgitate meat?
ventilator eat?
Yes. Hamburger.
Me.
Hamburger. Octopoid hamburger.
What are you going to close with? What are you going to close with? What are you
Give me
close with?
5.
Ooh, pop, da.